Chapter 6. Chapter 6 was interesting, and to be honest, chapter 6 deserves its own video, but I am going to try to summarize. Okay. Chapter 6 continues to ask questions about the representation of Black women within the movement, their representation in rap music, and how love, femininity, and agency are talked about, how they are represented in rap music. This was a very interesting chapter. The author talks about how the rise of hip hop soul, this beautiful fusion, created an avenue to talk about a wider range of feelings, a wider range of experiences within the hip hop world and within rap music. And it brought a bit more emotion within the culture. And in this aspect, we have to talk about LL Cool J. LL Cool J, which stands for Ladies Love Cool James. Like he was a real hip hop pioneer as well, in particular the new school. And I appreciate the fact that in his music he was not afraid to show this side, the side that tended more to love, relationships, a desire for companionship, a desire for affection, which is normal, which is a normal human need. So I really love that. I love LL Cool J. We do have good examples uh, op- artists opening up um, their catalog, their emotional catalog to a wider range of emotion. This chapter, as I said, mentions hip hop soul, so we have a nice crossover with R&B and soul artists, R&B and soul singers. And by the way, Michelle is actually mentioned in this book as one of the precursor of hip hop soul. Can you still hear me? Because this is very important because I love Michelet. So yeah, Michelet is mentioned in this book as one of the precursor of hip hop soul, and we tend to forget this. Okay. And I'm actually going to actually highlight this because this is something that I'm going to use in my oncoming video about Michelet.
Hey, baby, what's your name? Excuse me.
And of course, this chapter mentions, of course, Mary J. Blige, the queen of hip hop soul. This was a beautiful chapter as far as hip hop soul is concerned, about how we have all these R&B artists who were also incorporating elements of hip hop into their music and who were also adjacent to the hip hop scene, such as Escape, SWV, Total, Faith Evans, yeah. And she is my favorite artist. She is my fave ever. So, because I have free will and this is my video, I'm going to take the time to remind you how much I love Faith Evans. This was my opportunity. So, Faith, I love you. Right, right. I had to change my phone because I'm running out of storage. I am such a chatty pie. Regarding the beautiful fusion of hip hop and soul, or hip hop and R&B, the author says that the blending of hip hop and R&B has added a new dimension to rap, providing a starting point for dialogue between the sexes. So, chapter 6 is great in discussing this. This is a very big topic that I won't have the time to explore in this video. My My video is probably already 1 hour long, and once again, I need to be conscious of the time. So the fusion between R&B and hip hop, soul and hip hop is it deserves a video on its own. Yes, yes, yes. But I loved reading about this. Another thing that deserves a video on its own that is mentioned in chapter 6 is agency and how some female rappers decided to be portrayed or still decide to be portrayed. We talk about the complexity, the complex relationship between agency and exploitation. The author explores the case of Lil Kim and Foxy Brown. You've heard the names, and you know these are these two women deserve a chapter, a video on their own. These two women are seen as groundbreaking figures of rap music. Lil Kim is considered one of the most influential rappers for her flow, the content of her rap song, which was kind of new at the time. She opened the door for a new type of rap music, and also because of her image. And yeah, for these two artists, not only their music, but also their image is complex, controversial, polarizing. When people talk about Lil Kim and Foxy Brown, it is often said, as the author says, that they brought agency, confidence, and sexual freedom. But the author says that the question remains, was it empowerment or was it exploitation? Especially when we know that for both Lil Kim and Foxy Brown, men were writing their lyrics. So is it really agency? Some can say that yes, it's agency because they agreed to sing these lyrics. But then again, did they agree? Or were they heavily influenced? Were they coerced? So it's a lot to think about. Now, one issue is that these two artists are in the public sphere. They became famous and they have younger girls looking at them. What is usually concerning is how these messages can potentially be absorbed by young, impressionable girls listening to their music or looking at their music videos. That is a legitimate concern. And in reality, whether it's younger girls, whether it's young women, or whether it's grown women, some people don't always understand the difference between art and real life. And for people who don't understand the difference between art and real life, these messages can be heavily dangerous if applied to real life. There is a risk of them taking everything at face value because when we are young, we're all really impressionable and putting themselves in really dangerous or risky situations as young people if they don't have guidance around them or if they feel a bit vulnerable themselves. There is a risk of hypersexualization, of placing themselves in unsafe situations, in situations once again that they don't understand, that they don't have a grasp of, or putting themselves in exploitative contexts. It can encourage impressionable minds to adopt attitudes or form relationships that they are not yet equipped to navigate. We have to think about agency, safety, and also having alternative guidelines like remember you can do this but the risk is this. Remember you can do this but you have to protect yourself doing this. You can do this but make sure than this. I did this but this is my context. Contextualization. Now, a lot of people are going to say this is not the role of the artist. These kids have parents. But we have to be realistic about the power of music, about the fact that music is an individualized practice. Like when I was young, my parents did not know what I was listening to. And when I was young, I was listening to artists like I was listening to Foxy Brown, I was listening to Trina. But what helped me was that I had alternative discourse. alternative perspectives, alternative representation. Because I thought I was reading a lot of Toni Morrison, Sister Soldier. I was reading a lot, listening to a lot of music, a wide range of music. I was also listening to the Britney Spears, the Faith Evans, the so I had a wide range of womanhood. I had different representations of womanhood. So although I was young and impressionable, I was feeding myself with possibilities. I was feeding myself with different realities, and I was taking my lessons from it. I was building up my critical thinking. But had I not been doing this, had I not built this critical thinking, I could have been easily influenced. Really, it's about the ecosystems, the responsibility media ecosystems have towards younger audiences. I remember when I was younger, the more spicy video clips on MTV and other channels, they used to be broadcasted only late at night. So during the day, younger audiences had a lesser risk of watching such videos, which was good because I felt like it protected me as a kid. Because as a kid, you need to be protected. I mean, it's real life. It protected me from seeing things I could not understand or things I was not equipped to deal with. So, all these video clips, I remember they used to happen at night very late. I mean, that was a way to try to protect young people. But again, music is an individualized experience, so it's hard to put filters, and also in this day and age where we have internet and kids can access anything and everything, this question is even more important and even more urgent. That's why beyond artists and whatever they want to express to their art, it's very important that we have systems in families, in communities where kids are supported, they have someone to talk to, they are guided. Yeah, it's very important. Parents, they have a responsibility, but let's be realistic. We cannot ignore the scale and the reach, the power of media industries in shaping norms, whether they are beauty norms, relationship norms, and even desires. So this is very important. Talk to your children, talk to your girls, talk to the young girls, talk to the young women, talk to your friend, and remind them that their womanhood is theirs. And as long as they feel safe, they're making choices that support their well being, their health, their life, their lives. Yeah, community, being there for one another, because as a woman, it's sometimes it's some decisions are really hard to take, and just the simple fact of knowing how you want to live your womanhood, how you envision being a woman, people don't realize how big and complex and deep a question it is. But that's for another video. I don't want this video to last for 3 hours. But we have to say that, and this is something that the author mentions, that did it, Lil Kim. So Lil Kim, that's what I like about Lil Kim, is that she's really transparent. She advised young girl to not take her lyrics as real life. She did say many times there's a difference between Kimberly Jones and Lil Kim. And that honesty illustrates the tension between image and reality. Lil Kim admitted herself she doesn't want young girls to model their lives based on her lyrics. So it's good that she's showing awareness and honesty. And again, we have to bear in mind that music can be powerful, can be a powerful tool to influence people. So yeah. But then again, as I said, Lil Kim is talking about her experiences, but again, most of the time, her lyrics are written by men. So there are interesting questions, interesting limits that we can think about regarding agency and rappers such as Lil Kim and Foxy Brown. This lane of rap music. And with Foxy Brown, it's even more confusing because It's even more confusing. I don't know if I have the time to talk about it now, but yeah, Foxy Brown is even more confusing because she does say that when she was younger, she wanted to be a criminal attorney, that her mom was a teacher, and that she grew up in a good family with good, good education. So her background and her choices spark different types of questions. In this book, when you read this, the author ask a lot of good open questions, and like even for Foxy Brown, we can ask ourselves, or we can wonder what made her want to emulate a certain lifestyle if she says that her upbringing was different to what she portrays in her songs, what she promotes, or her artist persona. This is very interesting. It really like provokes good questions about agency and the different types of agency um, that we can see from female rappers. Throughout the book, the author also mentions bell hooks, who is a very important, influential cultural critic. And Bell Hooks is big on accountability. So, once again, the image you're portraying, your messages, could simply be a reflection of your personal history, what you have seen growing up, what you have gone through growing up, or your perspective, your ideas. It's fine. However, big with bell hooks, self accountability. For bell hooks, self accountability is important. Even when it's not cool to be self accountable, even when it's difficult, we have to do it for ourselves and for our communities. What exactly are we doing? What exactly are we promoting? And actually, the author gives us a lot of examples of rappers with different images, with different messages. And once again, we have Lauryn Hill, and the author highlights how through her music, Lauryn Hill has been successfully incorporating themes such as womanhood, motherhood, politics, self respect, human rights, self preservation, introspection, spirituality, but at a heavy price because, again, the pressure on her was enormous. So, what does the author says regarding all these sometimes conflicting representation of womanhood? What can we do when we are facing these sometimes degrading messages about womanhood in rap music? What can we do as lovers of hip hop, lovers of rap music? How can we help women who love hip hop, young girls who love hip hop? The author says that feminism has a role to play. There needs to be a strong, loving but strong reality check. And that's where feminism should come into place. But that should be a feminism that understands the reality of these women who love hip hop. It has to be a feminism that can truly reach these young women who are maybe more at risk of being influenced by dangerous messages or harmful messages. It has to be a feminism, according to the author, a feminism that goes beyond critique and that can include guidance, that can include inclusion and acceptance. And regarding artists, the author asks, how can we offer alternative narratives regarding love, loyalty, care, safety, and relationships within hip hop culture? Going back to feminism, the author says that we need a feminism that is real grounded, a feminism in touch with the lives and the realities of women who listen to hip hop or women hip hop speaks to. Page 192, we have from the author: Black feminism needs to be accountable to young Black women, saving their lives and widening their worldview and the choices they feel they can make. In order to accomplish this, in order to reach the young Black women, feminism needs to come down from its ivory tower. Young black women, like it or not, are getting their life lessons from rap music. And because voices like Queen Latifah, Salt and Pepper, and Queen Pen are few and far between, it's up to black feminism to pick up the slack. In short, there are many ways that black feminism can begin to work with hip hop. So, yeah, there is a strong call for feminism to work with hip hop. Regarding feminism, some effort has been made, especially during the third wave feminism, to be a little bit more inclusive. We have very powerful notions, really powerful concepts such as intersectionality from Kimberly Crenshaw that started to help us understand the complexities of the lived experiences of some girls and some women, and talking about what we can do. That's how we reach chapter 7, which is the final chapter, which explores the political power of rap music and the educational opportunities related to rap music. Now, the hip hop movement was created as a form of art, but it was also a movement of contestation. So, hip hop was also highly political at its birth. It is part of hip hop essence, and the author is planting a lot of seeds, and the author is trying to tell us maybe we should go back to this. What do you think? The author says that the political power of rap can be used in different ways. As hip hop grew in popularity, the audience has expanded and extended to reach middle and upper class white audience. So with the growing popularity of hip hop, as I mentioned at the very start of the video, with this came new opportunities but also new dangers, to see the essence of hip hop being dissolved and diluted. The more mainstream hip hop became, the more there was a risk to see it being commodified, stripped of its original sound, its original edge, its original flavor. There was also a huge risk of seeing the communities that founded, that created hip hop, end up being excluded from the movement. That's what happens when a movement is commodified, when it's used to make profits with neglecting the soul of the movement. So there was a risk of seeing literally the black community being excluded from its own movement the more it became mainstream. It is crazy. But the author argues that rap holds an incredible political potential in building bridges across communities. And the author also highlights the fact that with rap music, there is a significant opportunity to foster or to promote political awareness and activism. The author also spent some time explaining how rap could be used in a classroom, and the author is really experimental about it, and she shares with us her reflections about how she has tried to use rap lyrics in the classroom and how she has encouraged her students to be reflective and critical about rap music, to talk about their position regarding rap music. Chapter 7 is very interesting in how the author flips the lens and how she looks at the way rap music could be a tool for change. And this is really a call for us to try to go back to that, and to bring the nice duality between artistic expression, joy, and political awareness and having a message. Because that's the beauty of hip hop. There's a place for everything. There is a place for rap music about joy, being in the neighborhood with your friends, storytelling, humorous rap, ego trip, battling. And there was also playing with words. I'm telling my story, I'm being jokey, I'm making jokes, I'm trying to be, a bit cheeky. There's a place for it. Talking about your experiences, whether they were positive, whether they were joyful, whether they were complicated, and there was a place for purpose, having a message, building community, teaching something through music. Because, yeah, rap music is not just about entertainment. It was a really interesting chapter because the author talks about how rap can be used in the classroom to spark conversations about all around race, inequality, representation, exclusion, and so on. So this book is really rich. If you love hip hop, you will love it. I loved the fact that this book really reminds us about the essence of hip hop, how it was born as a tool of expression, empowerment, and identity for Black and Latino communities at the end of the 1970s in South Bronx in the state of New York. A good reminder that at its core, hip hop stands for the affirmation of the self, but also unity, community, and resistance against oppression, challenging social exclusion, state neglect, and celebrating narratives about the experiences and the lives of Black and Latino people in inner cities. Originally, hip hop gave another avenue for Black people to express themselves, speak their truth, explore with creativity, new sounds, new forms of storytelling, to explore their identity and to challenge injustice. And the author says that now maybe we need to bring that spirit again. This is really a call for action. And also, still in the idea of social justice, how can we make sure that the voices of women, of Black women within the movement, are respected, centered, valued? How can we make sure that they have a place and that this place is protected? How can we encourage and allow them to express themselves safely and with dignity within the movement? How can we make sure that they have a space to talk about their own truth with agency without being censored or without being met with threats or outcry, the same way it has been for previous artists? Remember, the author talks about how the work of Alice Walker and Ntozake Shange had been received in the past. How can we make sure that we evolve from such narrow reception of different testimonies and different expression of life stories, different narratives? The author talks about a lot of things in such a powerful way. So I really encourage you to read this book. But one of the ideas of the author, one of the suggestions of the author is for Black feminism to find ways to reach young Black girls, Black women, young Black women, old Black women, to reach them and to work within hip hop culture to try to create change from within, because we still have things to address, such as the impact certain rap videos have on young girls, which is explored in the book as well. There is also, according to the author, and I also strongly believe it, there is an urgent need to focus on the lives of young Black girls in hostile environments, especially those growing up in unsafe, unstable, unsteady environments. Violence against girls and women is still a pressing issue, so clearly there is still more work to do. And this is not a work that should be done by women. This is not a women issue. This is an issue that concerns everyone, and everyone should be involved to find solutions. So, yeah, I really loved this book, really thought provoking. It's part of my library, as a hip hop lover, as someone who asks questions, as someone who is really, really, really big on social justice and the respect of children's rights, women's rights, someone who is big on uplifting communities, someone who admires hip hop culture, someone who loves hip hop. This book was a really, really profound interesting read. Now we are in 2026. As Alicia Keys said in one of her interviews that I was watching, it's all about balance and authenticity and intentions. And we can have fun, but we shouldn't lose the message and we should be responsible. Not just the artist, because an artist is an artist, but the media's, us as a society, we have a responsibility towards the children, towards younger people, and toward people who need help. I greatly appreciated the mention of Queen Latifah. That was a highlight, big highlight. But it's true that I did hope to read more. But the reality is that it is true that, anyways, within the rap industry, it has been so narrow for female rappers. So this is also reflected in the book. But regardless of this, in the book, we do have a wide range of artists who are mentioned. So it was, no complaints at all. So yeah, if you are into hip hop culture, if you are into feminist thoughts or black feminist thoughts, if you just love to see and love to explore how art can be changed into activism, this book is for you. Check it while I wreck it. Black womanhood, hip hop culture, and the public sphere, Gwendolyn Pough, I recommend. Hip hop gave us the mic at the end of the 1970s, but what we're going to do with it now in the 21st century, that's on us. And we really need to think about it. I believe in revivals, I believe in renaissance, I believe in community spirits, I believe in all the beautiful souls, all the beautiful artists, beautiful people who are ready to rock the world in a positive way. I believe in this. So keep vibing, keep enjoying, keep loving the culture, keep respecting the culture, respect these people who created this hip hop culture. And let's remember what it stands for. Okay, let's appreciate, let's enjoy, let's love, let's challenge, let's ask questions, let's try to understand, let's try to give guidance, let's support, and let's try to uplift each other the best way we can. I am tired. I've been speaking for, what time is it? More or less 4 hours. It will appear like less after I do my edit, but I really enjoyed doing this video. I hope it did make sense. I was a bit left and right everywhere. I was a bit, because I was passionate, but I do hope there is still there is still a thread, a train of thoughts in this video. Take care, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. Let's continue the discussion in the comments. If you have something to say, if you have something to add, if you want to shout out your love for hip hop. In the meantime, take care. Mwah. Bye.